Ducks.
Feeding the ducks right now, my friend, and
quack.
We are live.
Yes, we are.
We are. Yeah.
And the people that are watching are the ducks, and we're going to give them some feed.
We're going to feed them. So
yes.
Good.
Hope they're ready for this delicious food that we're going to give them tonight.
A Scott Sakura-less dish tonight of Talking Beards.
I know.
Sorry, everyone. We're going to struggle through this first minute and a half or whatever that Scott says all of his romantic stuff or his AI generated words or is just like talking about like, hey, tonight we're going to have Brian Phillips on the show from the Northern Indiana Villains and stuff like that. But, you know, then what do I say when I get going in the show? Then that's the stuff I'm supposed to say then, Kyle.
Yes. Interesting that you say that. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to have Brian Phillips on tonight, everybody.
Is that interesting, huh? Is it interesting?
Also known as BP, but not British Petroleum.
He's a gas station. Speaking of gas stations, Andrew Madsen.
Andrew Madsen's live. What's up, Andrew?
He's a gas station.
I'm surprised he's not tired of you guys yet.
Oh, he's working on it.
He's like,
oh, hey, everybody in Talking Beards world. We are live tonight. I'm Aaron D. Johnston, and as with me tonight is Kyle Waller. No Scott Sakura tonight. He is He's feeding the ducks, as the kids say.
He is.
I think.
Well, it's his lady's birthday, so she said, Scott, you got to take the night off.
Yeah, and they were probably feeding the ducks right now.
They are. Like, they're feeding the ducks.
As our Feeding the Ducks theme song was going on. If you don't know that, that's these things. That's Feeding the Ducks.
Yes, that's Feeding the Ducks.
It's called Feeding the Ducks, but that's what the StreamYard called it, and I almost forgot to turn that off before the show. But anyway, I'm Aaron D. Johnston. I'm over here tonight. We're going to have Brian Phillips on the show. He is from the Northern Indiana Bearded Villains. Coming up this weekend will be the Return of Ezra Crow, and it's a beard competition, tattoo, costume, maybe a silly hat contest. I don't even know what all they're going to be doing up there, but we're going to be there, and I'm a judge for it, I think. Oh, wait, we're supposed to talk about that in the show. Anyway, I'm a judge for it.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Yeah. Whoops. Anyway, yeah.
A little early.
What's going on, Kyle? What are you up to?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Kyle Waller of the Shape the Podcast, and thanks, Aaron, again for inviting me on to be this lovely co-host. I got some tiny shoes to fill in Scott Sakura, but what's up, everybody?
2018 Kyle Waller.
2017 Kyle Waller.
2017 Kyle Waller.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, I mean, you did a great job with me last time, and I figured why not just keep you as the backup quarterback or whatever we're doing here. So let's not mess up a good thing. You did good last time, so keep it up, Kyle Waller.
I see that Jeff Harris popped on. So since Jeff Harris popped on, let's talk about a couple of things real quick.
Oh man, I should have freaking put those pictures in here.
Let us talk about first. Let's just get to you've been in England. You were in England 2 weeks ago?
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. So that was part of the reason we didn't do a show last week because jet lag and I had 1,000 things to do and 2 days to get it all done. But yeah, man, I went to England by myself last weekend. And
nice.
It was a little nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna lie. Like leading up to it, like I didn't really get started packing until late. And I'm like, man, I'm doing this by myself. It's not that I couldn't do it by myself. I just, I've always traveled internationally with Natalie, and it's just we do these things together. And she makes sure I have my passport and stuff like that, and make sure that we, pack all the proper items. And I didn't have that with me this time. There was no There's no assistance. It was just
so
me.
that was a little nerve-wracking, so to speak.
It was, but it all was super easy. I drove to Atlanta, and Andrew was going to come, hang out with Natalie for the weekend since she wasn't traveling with me. And he landed a couple hours before me, so I pulled up to the international terminal, and he was standing there waiting on me. I couldn't have been is the easiest trip to the Atlanta and cheapest Atlanta airport, because the international terminal, I think it's like $40 a day, or it's so stupid. And like, where else are you going to park? They got you, where
yes, he does.
One of those hotels or something, and then catch a shuttle and come back. Yeah. And so, they get you. But I didn't have to do that this time. Thank you to Andrew D. Matson for, flying in right before me. So it was pretty good.
So let's talk about that real quick before we get into the actual show. So how was emceeing a British competition?
Dude, so we had a plan. So me and Matt Wall talked on, we messaged and stuff, and our suits, I had a black suit with the American flag vest.
Fantastic.
He had a white suit with the UK flag, and we were the good and evil type thing, and whatever, and it worked out really well. So what I've done in previous emceeing, I've realized that I need a list of people to read. I'm not good at just winging the whole thing.
Gotcha.
I can wing this sometimes, but I like to have a list. And so I was like, hey, I need a list of competitors. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And so I got the list of competitors, and me and Matt kind of talked. I was like, maybe after a couple categories, we'll swap. And, you'll read, hey, coming up to the stage is blah, blah, blah. And then they'll come up to me and I'll BS with them. And if, we feel necessary to interact together, we will. But through those first couple of categories, I realized I didn't understand most of the things the people were saying. Like Matt Wall would straight just like turn to me and was like saying some stuff. And dude, I don't know if I was just super tired, which, could have been, but I think there was a lot of those northern accents in England are just super freaking tough. And where we were closer to the north than the south. Like the southern accents are more like the more typical British accents that on television shows and stuff, because London and whatnot, and those are kind of softer. Sometimes those get rough, but what I've realized is the northern accents, the farther north you go to, like, if you go ahead and go all the way up to Scotland and whatnot, it gets those accents are very, very tough to understand, especially in like just kind of passing, and then trying to be quick on your feet to hear what they said and then think of a rebuttal. You know what I mean? I'll be so slow trying to think of like really pay attention to what they said, and I won't even have time to think for rebuttal. So there's no back and forth. It would just be so cut and dry. So what we ended up doing just after the first couple categories, I just told Matt to keep going. He did a really good job. He's emceed several of those England beard competitions, so he already knows all those guys. Like I've seen a bunch of them, but I don't remember everybody's name. So like he's already buddies with them, so it's easier to cut up and do like some little interviewee stuff when you know them, I think. So It was fun. I enjoyed it. I got through it. Everyone said I did a good job. I feel like Matt did a way, way better job and just made me look okay. But we got through it, and it was an experience, man. Like I couldn't believe that I got asked to MC a beer competition in England, and to do that, I was just shocked. But I thought it was super cool, and it worked out. And flew home, and 2 days later we drove 16 hours to Texas.
Yes, I know.
I was home for 2 days.
Let's just talk about that right now, because Jeff Harris is in the room.
Yeah,
Jeff Harris, bald chicken, man.
Bald chicken, man. Yes. Yeah. So Jeff Harris had to raise $2,000 at the Beard-O-Palooza 4, and he did it. He had almost 1,000 going in, and he was like, if we stay at 1,000, I'll let you cut me into a goatee before the end of the night. And I was like, that's great. I'll do that. He brought his own trimmer and everything. And no, he just kept going, got to 2,000, and Natalie ended up shaving him on stage. I took a selfie right before Natalie shaved him. I took it right after, and it was cool, man. Jeff Harris is a good-looking guy. Who knew?
Natalie has his beard hair, doesn't she?
I think so, probably.
Yeah, and I can tell you.
And then
Yes, he does. Way younger.
Jeff
Yes.
Harris looks 10 years younger.
Yes.
So yeah, man, it was cool. Yeah, that was just the crowning jewel of the night. That was like the last thing we did. Natalie shaved Jeff Harris while Andrew broke down the table, and I finished helping him load the stuff in the car. And then as soon as it was all over, we bounced. And yeah, but it was a good time.
And then, you know, now, like, I'm sure you've seen the pictures of Jeff Harris on floating on Facebook. If you take a picture of Jeff Harris and you take a picture of Stash and you put them right beside each other, they look alike. Holy cow.
Yeah, they're the same person. I can't wait to see Jeff Harris and Andrew Hatton
Stash
together.
Oh my God. Yeah. So Jeff, yeah, you and Andrew Hatton look just alike. It's kind of crazy. Look at that. Our guest is actually in the audience right now.
Look at him. He's popping off some eyeballs.
What's Brian Phillips with the eyeballs.
But yeah, we me and Scott emceed, and the best critique I heard from the night was like it was just a really long episode of Talking Beards, and they loved it. So I mean, I never even thought about being in front of the audience the whole time. Like I would turn to the audience and like pick on Buffon or somebody like that, but for the most part, dude, I was just interacting with Scott, and we were
you guys have that chemistry, you know, and that's the thing. It's like that's undeniable. When you guys get on stage, it just flows. So that's always a great thing.
Yeah, we just work really well together, and I think, you know, maybe because this is our 311th episode of Talking Beards, and you know, Scott and I've done a majority of those together. I think that probably definitely helps. What's up, Chris Battenberg? What's up, man? But yeah,
awesome.
So what about you? You did an episode of the Shape the podcast last week. How did that go?
I did, yeah. Friday night, I had a good friend of mine, Ken Parks, on the show, and he talked about his son died of brain cancer, and he talked about.
I didn't expect for that episode to go that way. I was like, all right, man, this dude's just gonna be talking about music and stuff, and I was like, oh,
nope, I wanted it. I wanted it to go that way because, you know, I knew somebody needed to hear the story, and plus I knew how big of Phil's life, you know, Ken. I mean, that's his son. So yeah, I did that Friday night and talked about the benefit that he has coming up next Saturday or this Saturday, and then this weekend, me and the wife just chilled. We didn't really do anything fun. We vegged out at home, just slept a lot. You know, took some adult naps. They were fun.
Adult naps. What's that? What's different between an adult nap and a child nap?
So, you know, like, you know, at children's naps, you don't get snack time when you're an adult. Okay. You just sit in your recliners and cover up with a cover and just start snoring until your heart's can. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Natalie does that all the time. She's just like sitting there watching TV and she'll just fall asleep. Just
with the cats.
It's definitely me. I'm the falling asleep person. We were driving back from Nolanville, was it Sunday night, and we stopped at a hotel in Mississippi, and I was like, it was like 8:00. I'm like, yeah, usually if we stop at a hotel it's like midnight and we're just crashing. I'm like, we actually have a couple of hours. We're gonna sleep or hang out, and then we're gonna go to sleep. Dude, as soon as I got in that room, I fell asleep. As soon as I got there, I was out. What's up, Perry John?
Perry Johns.
He's got one of those good names that you can just throw out, like a Crystal Davis, like just all one word. Perry Johns. That's a perfect name. What's up, man? Thank you for listening to us all the way from UK.
Man, the chat going on right now is great. So since we're doing Talking Beards, let's talk about what you can get if you use Talking Beards, the code.
Oh my gosh, let's do it. So yeah, if you go to honestamish.com, you can use promo code Talking Beards and you can save 15% off your order, and you can get free shipping over orders of $35 within the continental United States. I'd like to add that for Perry Johns in here. He's not going to order a bunch of stuff and get it shipped to England for free, because shipping is super expensive. There we go. Words. And you can do this one. You can go to the beard calendar, Kyle Waller.
There you go. Yeah, you can. And what can you find on the beard calendar, Aaron Johnson?
Oh my gosh. Let's just all the events. I mean,
every single one.
Yeah. Events like this one.
Bingo.
You Matter 3, January 20th. Look Look at this one. This one's coming up November 4th, Daytona Beach, Florida. This is Nationals. And then you got Great American coming up.
Where's Brad at when you need him?
Freaking Brad. Yeah, he yelled at me for not popping this
September
up
21st, Detroit,
2024. And then this one,
be there.
I think this is 4th of July weekend, 2025.
It is.
So, yeah, man, all the events and many more. Every weekend has several events, and they're all over the country in little bars or big bars or venues or outside, and they're everywhere.
Yes. So yes, those of you who just want to look and see if there's an event near you, thebeardcalendar.com is where to find it. There's some great events coming up.
Whenever you're ready, Brian Phillips, if you're still watching, you can hop in here. I don't know. What else we got?
Man. I don't know. This week
here we go. We got this. You can talk about that.
Do we? Oh, yes. We can talk about that if you want to. So that's the Cyan Tattoo Beard and Mustache Competition, March the 2nd. That is presented by Honest Amish and White Oak Beard Supply.
So this is what? This is going to be a 3-day tattoo event?
It's a 3-day tattoo event, and the beard competition is on the second day at 2 p.m. So if you're in the region, heck, I don't care where you are, come up to Dayton, Ohio, get tattooed, come to a beard competition and raise money for kids, because that's what it's all about. It's all about for a charity called For the Love of Children in Dayton. They are all volunteers, and they help out kids who, school-age kids, doesn't matter. Anything they need, they help get them out. And
speaking of White Oak.
Yep, there's Jared Menace,
What's up,
the owner of White Oak.
And Andrew Matson says, using promo code Talking Beards at the Honest Amish booth at your local beard competition will get you a crisp high five and free shipping. So that's pretty good.
That is pretty nice. Yes. I mean, because it's direct from the table to your hands. I mean, come on now.
No, yeah, that's just,
you don't have to worry about getting it lost in the mail. You don't have to worry about if somebody's going to go through and pilgrimage through your beard oils and use them themselves and then give them back to you because they don't like the way they smell. No. Mm-mm. You can actually get that this weekend.
And we got one of these online contests coming up.
We do.
Yeah. So Paul Kennedy is the face of the Bluebeard Challenge. But yeah, go to zerocancer.org/Bluebeard, and pretty sure registration's open now. So you can it's November 1st.
November 1st.
Not November yet, Kyle Waller, but this is going to be the category.
It's getting close.
Oh my gosh.
Getting close.
October.
And since we're Brian says his system is having connection issues. And since we're only talking about the Bluebeards comp, guys, health matters. Get the prostate checked. Do it. I don't know if you watched the past episodes with Paul Kennedy, but if you haven't, watch it. Get some knowledge about it. It's a very important thing. So
yeah, and you can do it with blood tests too now. Yeah. That's been the biggest thing. We've talked about it several times. You can get your prostate checked with just blood work. You don't have to get a finger in the butt, but you don't have to fear the finger.
Nope.
That's the motto of some of the
don't
cancer.
Don't fear the finger.
Don't fear the finger. I think it was like the prostate cancer. What is this? The Zero Prostate Cancer. I think it was Zero of PA or something like that. That was their motto when we were joking around the other night. I looked it up. It was like, don't fear the finger.
And yes, Nikki is right. Paul Kennedy is spectacular.
He is. He looked amazing this last weekend, and yeah.
Jeff Harris wants everybody to know that his prostate is nice and smooth.
Yeah, it is. I was there when everybody checked it.
I forgot to mention. So Jeff Harris raised that $2,000, and this is a very cool thing that the organization did that he raised the money for. They gave it back to Jeff and his lovely spouse. I forgot what's her name. I forgot. I'm sorry. I blew a head gasket. Alley Cat. Yes. So that I thought that was very touching. For them to do that.
I was also pretty touched. I was very surprised, and I think everybody kind of was.
Alley Cat. My bad, Jeff Harris. It's been a long week so far.
Jeff Harris was not very thrilled about getting that charity money back to him. I'll say
of course
that.
Not.
He was like, I want to give that money to charity. He was like, he's like, we're not charity. I'm like, no, but they wanted to give you back to you for, the kind deed of giving it to them. Yeah. So hopefully we convince Jeff Harris to do something nice for him and Alley Cat and not just give it all back to charity. But knowing Jeff Harris, he's probably just going to donate it to another charity anyway. So.
And as Andrew Matson says, it was a beautiful moment.
It was, man.
I got I'm actually not gonna lie. I watched the shaving of the beard off.
Was it the Talking Beards live stream?
Yes, it was. Yep. And it made me teary eyed a little bit. Not that Jeff Harris was losing his beard, but that he can raise $2,000 and sacrifice his facial hair, but he's raising it for a great cause. So that's awesome. Wait, Jeff Harris has become angry since he became a mustache.
Yeah, he's pissed. He's a mustache guy now.
He looks like Mario. It's okay.
There we go. He said we're actually able to pay some bills, and I'll probably take her on a weekend trip.
There you go. Hey,
Jeff Harris. That's what that money was for, my friend.
Yep. And you guys deserve it, Jeff. So thank you for doing what you did for that competition. I mean, Beard-O-Palooza.
Jeff Harris, he puts his whole heart in this whole thing, and if you're going to do something, do it with your whole heart, Kyle Waller. And Jeff Harris is prime example of that.
Yes.
So while we're waiting on Brian Phillips to magically appear, if you're watching over on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Talking Beards page, because we have lots of shows that pop up on there from time to time, including the Shape Podcast, which didn't go to YouTube last week, Kyle Waller. I have a bone to pick with you. When you're setting up the show, if they have a little Talking Beards logo on it, you click on all the Talking Beards logos when you're
I was setting it up on Friday and making sure that I clicked the right ones. And, of course, I clicked the Honest Amish page by accident. That wasn't supposed to happen, but it didn't go to YouTube, but it went to every other page, including the Shape the Podcast. So if you missed the episode Friday night, you can go back and watch it. It was different, and I thought it was great. And
what's up? It was real good, man.
What's up, Dylan Brown?
What's up, Dylan Brown? I owe you some products, Dylan Brown. I need your address.
Yes.
So Dylan Brown, could you send me your address to Facebook Messenger or Instagram or wherever we're connected, so I could send out some products to you, because we read your review last week, which I've already deleted apparently off my screen.
Great review.
Yeah. Speaking of, if you want to leave a review over there on the Talking Beards iTunes podcast, you could leave a 5-star review and a great set of words talking about how great we are and amazing we are.
I left one, but you don't want to read it.
On yours or ours?
No, on yours.
Oh, you left one on ours?
I did, yeah.
Oh, no.
It's okay. You don't have to read it.
No, but I'm not going to.
Speaking of Dylan Brown, he actually won first place in the mustache category this past weekend that the British Centers of Northern Georgia did their online comp.
Yeah, so, did you watch the results? Was there a result show or anything?
There was a results show. It was Friday night, so it was kind of like we did with Jackson's Miracle Beard Competition. They had the results show on Friday night, so had a really good turnout. It seemed like.
Yeah.
During my podcast, so I had to go back and watch it afterwards. But
did you compete?
I did not compete. No.
I also did not compete. I've done a few of the online things, but for the most part, I just try to donate or help sharing it or whatever.
That's how I am. But I believe Andrew Matson competed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he showed me the picture. I think he got second in his category. So he's trying to get to 100 competitions. So he's rolling in pretty close. I need to count mine up. Yeah. I don't know where we're at. I think I counted them last year, and I do believe we were at like 170 or something last year. So I don't know.
This is right. This is right. Dylan Brown did beat Dan Silky Brown in a battle of D Browns. Yes,
the battle of the D Browns. So
yes.
Speaking of, go ahead.
But did you see Silky's mustache touched from tip to tip. It was awesome.
I was going to ask you, what do you think about Dan Silky Brown's whaler with a mustache?
You know, I think
it's the strangest thing.
I think he should just go whaler, believe it or not.
No, I mean that's his whole thing. He's got the stash rolls and whatnot. Yeah. So he's and he have a mustache. It's his gimmick.
Shaves he shaves right there at that line.
Well, initially that's what he did. He lifted and he shaved right here.
Yep.
But now he's done the whole thing. Like he shaved across. Like it's a really nice looking whaler with a mustache. Which doesn't make sense.
Yes, Jeff Harris, you should do a competition. Come on.
You just turned into a robot, Kyle Waller. Oh, my gosh, I just lost Kyle Waller. So this is how tonight's going to go, everybody. I've lost Kyle Waller. Oh, he's back. And Brian Phillips, we touched base with him before the show. He's saying he's having some connection issues, and I haven't heard from him.
Sorry, I lost.
No, yeah, you're good.
I'm back.
Kyle Waller's back.
I lost my mic there for a minute. So
anyway, Joe DeBille's here from England as well. He can't go whaler. He's Mr. Stash Rolls. See? Exactly.
Yes, that's true.
But he can.
What's up?
And then Jeff Ray's here.
Jeff Ray.
Saw Jeff Ray last weekend. He was looking fine. Yeah. Steve Fletcher Jr.
Steve Fletcher. So Steve Fletcher Jr. He's in Indiana. Steve, are you going to make it to the episode, the Ezra Crow show that the Northern Indiana Villains are doing, or are you going to go up to Tri-County, which is this weekend?
So Steve Fletcher's in Texas right now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, they came to Nolanville.
Oh, wow.
They were there. And
that's awesome.
Apparently Steve Fletcher let his 11-year-old son drive most of the way once they got to Texas. That's what he told me.
You're in Texas. I believe it's legal.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But yeah, he said, I did the online one, didn't place, but glad to be part of it. The problem was we were driving to Texas and didn't realize the time change. So I watched it later instead of the live. And
it happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, enjoy Texas, Steve. Yes.
Chris Wilson. He's looking forward to the Ezra Crow show. Me too, buddy. I'm looking forward to seeing the Wilsons live and in person. I've got presents for y'all. So
presents. I like presents.
Oh, he's 10. Dadgummit. I almost said 10. I don't know why I thought he was 11. I'm sorry to offend Steve Fletcher.
10, 11. Age doesn't matter in Texas, right?
Through Texas. My bad.
When it comes to driving. Oh. Hey, look who's backstage right now. Should we bring him on?
I get it. All right. Give him a second. You good down there, Brian? Yeah. All right. He's still getting situated. He's in. All right. So now that we've gotten all that out of the way, Kyle Waller, let's get into the meat and the potatoes of this episode. That's what the kids say. Meat and potatoes.
Good evening, Douglas Cameron.
What's up, Douglas? All right. So tonight we have Brian Phillips from the Heart of a Villain podcast, and he's part of the Northern Indiana Bearded Villains. They are putting on the Return of Ezra Crow. That is Saturday, October 21st. Hobart, Indiana was the Hobart Moose Lodge, 783. That's a bunch of the information about the event right there. Here we go. Brian Phillips. What's up, my friend?
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me okay?
You're good.
Yeah.
So I'm on camera 2 right now because
camera 2. What happened to camera 1?
Camera 1, the good camera. That's what I've been fiddling with as soon as I tried to connect, it would not recognize, the StreamYard system would not recognize that camera all of a sudden. So I'm back to the Logitech webcam, which isn't nearly as good, but hey, I don't need to look good because I'm ugly already anyway. So
no, you still look good. I'm on the Logitech, so you're making us look equal instead of your super ultra amazing camera. What is that? Just running it off your phone? Is that what you do?
No. I do it. I've got the camera. I've got this Logitech here, but then I've got a 35 millimeter that I run off of.
Dude, that camera is amazing. I mean, the Logitech's okay too, because that's what I use. But whatever camera you use for the show and the one you had up on screen earlier while we were chatting,
hey, there it is.
That one, yes.
Oh, you
better
jerk.
Now it's better. I don't know what.
Oh, you're
Maybe
on
it just took a little
Logitech
while.
camera. I need to be on this super ultra high def thing.
Maybe it just took a little while. Sorry.
Look at my nose hairs and my camera. Gosh, this thing is so badass.
I'm just on my iPod. Get out of here.
Yeah, Kyle Waller's on a potato.
Yeah, I'm on a potato right now.
Oh,
yes.
God. What's up, Brian Phillips?
Oh man, I'm glad to be here finally.
Yeah,
I've been listening.
Yeah, we saw you commenting your eyes and stuff. We knew you were having some technical difficulties, and we were hoping they were going to get resolved.
Boy,
because we were running out of contact quickly.
Oh, you guys were doing well. You guys were doing really well.
Hey, I wanted to do the 30-minute mark and bring you in for the last 30, so I'm just
We did it.
We did it.
It was all planned.
But we did it. So.
It's all planned. It's all planned.
Yeah, man. Tell everybody, who you are real quick, because besides Brian Phillips.
Well, most people actually, it's kind of funny when you put out the Brian Phillips thing out earlier today. A lot of people were like, "Who's this Brian Phillips?" Because nobody knows me. A lot of people don't even know my full name. They don't know that I'm Brian Phillips. Everybody refers to me as BP. So, but I've been
British Petroleum.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
well, there's a lot.
You
of
are a green gas station.
I am. I'm green. It's
or banana peppers. Banana peppers.
But yeah, I've been around the bearded community since 2017, and been with Bearded Villains ever since then. And originally started out with Indiana, the Bearded Villains Indiana, and then 2020 we branched off, and the state of Indiana kind of blew up over about a 3-year period of time. And in 2018, the Southern Indiana chapter was born, and then 2020, the Northern Indiana chapter, which I'm now the captain of, we blossomed, and we've been thriving ever since, man. It's just been awesome to see all the things that our guys have wanted to be a part of, and the charity that the heart for charity that they have, and we haven't been slowing down. It's just been a lot of fun.
And that's all that's in Indiana as far as villain chapters goes. Just those two, the North and South.
Well, no, there's Central, which is still BVIN, the original, and then there's Southern and Northern. Yeah, right.
So
and then there's a whole bunch of other clubs that are not associated with villains that are scattered throughout the state. So
there's
it's been fun. There's a ton. I've learned. It was actually funny. We were talking off air earlier about Whiskermania. The first year I was at Whiskermania, I learned that there was actually some other, and I wish I could remember the name of it, but they introduced a guy that was there competing, and he was with another beard club out of Indianapolis. And we were all looking around each other going, what?
Like what's Indianapolis this club? Beard Club or something. And
we didn't even know it existed. And it was, I felt really bad. I was like, how long has this thing been around?
Right.
So, but yeah, there's a ton of really good guys doing some really cool things around the state of Indiana. So,
and that's kind of what you're doing, right? So we'll start with the podcast stuff. So your Heart of the Villain podcast.
By the way, villains don't have hearts. Villains do not have hearts.
Yeah, you said that earlier.
That's what we learned.
That's
so
what you've
tell
been
us
told.
The backstory of that. Why
you've been told.
Yeah, Heart of a Villain.
The Heart of a Villain. It kind of came about because I was looking for one of the first things I discovered, being early on in my journey with the villains, within the first 6 months or so. I had this kind of I guess you'd call it a thirst for knowledge of what other chapters around the world were doing. Once I realized how global the Bearded Villains Club was, and that there were, at the time, there were 150 some chapters all over the world. And
is that pretty accurate now?
I think it is. Yeah, it kind of hovers between 150 and 160.
Amazing.
And some of the chapters are absolutely enormous. Some of them are as small as 5 to 10 guys. There's a chapter in Sweden that's over 200.
Wow.
And,
crazy.
Yeah, I know.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's insane. Well, you know what I found?
Do they know Dan Silky Brown over in England? Because maybe they're cohorting together.
There's, if I'm not mistaken, there are 14 clubs in England. I think it's 12 or 14 different chapters over there. So it's just this huge global reach. And I wanted to create a way that not only could I learn, but I've just pass on information about what other chapters around the world were doing. And I've always been kind of a techie person. I did, I performed on stages and stuff when I was, throughout high school and college. And
what were you performing on stages doing?
Just singing.
He sings.
Okay. Yeah. And then, so I did that kind of stuff growing up, and I was always fascinated with like the radio industry. And I took a radio class in college or in high school for a semester. And once I realized that you had to actually study like laws regarding radio usage and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's not fun.
I was like,
FCC,
this isn't what I want to do. Yeah, I just want to talk on microphones and
I just want to learn how to talk on microphones.
I want to spin the records. This was back when everything was still a record or a cart,
right?
That you had to shove in, and we had to figure out how to time. You had to wind the record back about half a spin and then get it to time out when it played with the next one. And I'm aging myself here, but it was a lot of fun. And so I always had that kind of an interest. And so I thought, with the growth of podcasts and everything, I started asking around, and I was like, does anybody ever know if there's been a villain podcast of any kind? And, it's I love
that's
that.
Good information.
Great information.
Brought it, yeah.
Yes.
18,000.
BP is larger. BP is larger than we are. That's true.
There you go.
And I found that nobody really. I'd been told that there were a couple of, chapter or a couple of people that had maybe tried a podcast or two, and they only lasted 2 or 3 episodes. And I was actually told by somebody that you don't want to do that. Nobody's gonna listen to that thing. And I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna do it for me.
You want to do
it?
Exactly.
It's for me. And if anybody listens, I don't care. That's great. If nobody does, it's my fun, and I'm gonna pretend that I'm a that I'm an important DJ thing in front of this. And it wasn't even in front of a camera originally. It was just audio when I first started.
That's where you started, just audio podcast.
Yeah. And I'm telling you what, I go back and listen to, and I'm sure everybody that has gone through a journey that, is 3 or 4 years long like this, in doing any kind of recording, those first few episodes just make you cringe. And I listen back, man. And I, when I did the 100th episode, and I'm nowhere near what you guys are at. That's what's astonishing to me, is to realize how long you guys have been around. Because this week will be 196 for me, and you guys are over 300. So
yeah, but I mean, you're approaching 200. That's a huge milestone.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, what's funny is
episodes,
and this will make you laugh, because I did some research for an episode I did a few weeks back, talking about how actually kind of I let myself be a little bit of proud of what we've done with the show. And just kind of acknowledge the fact that, statistically speaking, like it was, I wish I still had it in front of me, but like 70% of all podcasts only make 3 episodes.
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Scott
there's
told me that very stat, and that's crazy.
And so if you make it to episode 25, technically speaking, you're in the top like 15-20% of all podcasts worldwide. Just simply by doing that. And then if you make it to like 100 episodes, you're automatically in, like, regardless of your listenership, just in your in what you've done, you're in the top like 5%. So
yeah, we've made it to some pretty obscure lists just because how long we've been going, and we've just been consistent. Like we're like the number 3 comedy news podcast in Germany or something. We're like, yeah, we did it.
Yeah. I got one of those
probably, but that's fine.
I got one of those when I was it was somewhere in Australia, and that I hit like a top 25 mark. And it was only, honestly, here's what it was. They're not huge at the time. They weren't really big. The podcast listenership in general, like in Australia, wasn't really huge at all. And the funny thing is that I actually had interviewed somebody from Australia for a episode, and because they shared it with everybody they knew, and it actually spiked the thing so far that suddenly I was nobody, but then it appeared as like a top 10 podcast for 1 week. In Australia.
Awesome.
I'm sure that's what happened with us, because we had a guy, Robert Mevick. We a couple of years ago we used to do like a share this episode thing, and we would be like, all right, everybody, whoever shares the episode the most will send some free stuff.
He was the man.
Dude, it got to the point, like I had beard clubs and like owners of beard companies reaching out to me like, can you make this Robert Mevick dude stop? I'm like, all right, like it
was on every single page you could think
like
of.
600 shares an episode.
That's awesome, though.
It was amazing.
Wow,
and they were popping up everywhere. It was crazy, but Robert Mevick was 250 of them, and they were, there's Mad Viking beard clubs all over the world, and they all have pages, and they all have product pages, and he would freaking share it to every single one of them.
It was crazy.
Those guys are like, we appreciate what you're doing, but can you stop? So we stopped doing that.
But
we
weren't trying to
BP, you're doing great things because people are watching your podcast, and I've watched a couple episodes, and just what you're doing to unify the bearded villains with the rest of the bearding community, I think is amazing. So
yeah, it's become a big point of interest for me, because you do this long enough and you recognize, and then if you're at least, I guess, if your eyes are open and you're willing to see what's in front of you, if you're not just stuck in your rut, over the years you recognize the fact that I'm friendly with a lot of guys from other beard clubs, but when it comes down to being at an event, if you're at an event with other beard clubs, and I've said this now for a year or so, that it's noticeable that there's this disconnect, and I feel it. And if I feel it, and I'm a villain, and I'm like, and when people are like, because I've actually had people be surprised when I approach them and I start talking to them, and they're like,
yeah, because I mean that's kind of been the thing forever. Villains are like, villains do their thing.
Yeah,
you don't go to villain events and stuff like that. Because I remember when I went to judge my first villains beard competition, I think it was like 2017 or 18, like a bunch of people were giving me grief about it, like, why would you go
give you the stink eye?
I'm like, what's it matter, we're all got beards and we're all
you're
going
over to the dark side.
You went to the dark side. I'm like, dudes are all super cool, what's the problem here? I don't understand.
I love going to bearded villains events. The guys in Lexington are some of my friends, and I judged one of their comps a couple weeks ago, and I loved it. It was like, come on now, and so it's great. It's great that you're doing this and trying to, say, hey guys, we all have one common goal here to raise money for charity. Yeah. Let's do it together. Let's don't do it separate. Let's get each other together.
Yeah. And see, there's a reason why I think that I think that it happens just because of, I don't think it happens because that guys intentionally try to make themselves feel superior or promote that feeling of superiority to other people. But I have a very specific theory on that, and I'll get into that in just a second. But I'll just finish my answer with the question that you had about the villain thing. What I discovered in talking to all these guys from around the world, and that's been a lot of fun. As a side note, being able to reach out and talk to guys literally from all over the world. So a lot of times your interviews, I know when you interview guys, it's live like we're doing now, but probably 2/3 of my interviews are recorded because I have to base it off of when guys are available for me to interview them.
I just make them wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and interview them.
Right. And so that's the thing.
We do it over here.
I've told guys, when are you available? Because I really want to talk to you about some stuff. And they're like, well, and I look at my clock and I'm like, count my hours back, and okay, so that's 3 a.m. my time. I'll just get up and I'll wipe this crap out of my eyes, and I'll come in and talk to you at 3 a.m. and go back to bed. And I've done that for Australia and for a bunch of guys in England, and nice. It's just what you do. But so that's been a really fun part of it. But what I discovered early on was that there are guys that are in beard clubs, and when I was talking specifically about villains, but it's something that's been very obvious for every beard club that's out there, is that there's a certain heart that guys have for charity. There's a certain heart for what they want to do with their lives, and there's a reason why they're a part of it. And it goes beyond, hey, look at my beard, I want you to pet my beard and look how pretty I am. That guys have a genuine heart for helping other people out, and it's been really impressive to see that. And so once I started thinking, well, what am I going to call this thing? And I knew it had to have something, to do with being villains, because I was going to be, interviewing villains. And it just hit me, that's the heart. That's what it comes down to, the heart of a villain. And that's where the heart of a villain came from, it just seemed to fit, because, hearing the stories from how guys' lives have been changed. And I know I told you guys this off the air, that when I come across guys early on in my journey, knowing that I was a former law enforcement officer, I've met guys that I would have never met in this bearding community in my former life, being a law enforcement officer, guys that have been in prison, guys that have been, in and out of whatever bad situation in their life. And life has changed, and they're trying to improve their life. I'm trying to do the same, and it's just been a really fun journey to meet people that I would have never met through the villains and the bearding community in general. So
I think we can all kind of say that. I mean, who'd have thought just growing facial hair we would all be sitting here, all different walks of life and talking about beard competitions and stuff. But speaking of beard competitions,
yes, let's get
into this real quick. The Return of Ezra Crow, October 21st. Let's start it off. What's Ezra Crow?
Yes. What is Ezra Crow?
Ezra Crow is our mascot, our logo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's our scarecrow. And when we were building up this chapter and realizing, okay, we needed something to hold on to. We need a logo. We need a mascot and everything. And there were a lot of beard clubs out there that were already using strictly just some sort of a bearded skeleton face or something.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Everybody using the skeleton face with a beard on it.
Yeah. And so, and some variation of that. And so we were trying to think, well, what can we do that's a little bit different? And we were trying to think, what's Indiana known for? Well, cornfields. And for the longest time, the only thing that we were stuck on, we were thinking of, instead of doing specifically a skeleton head or something like that, or a skull, was a crow. And we started off with the idea of the crow, the American crow, which is a huge, all over the Midwest, but also very specifically, it's almost like, a dandelion here. They're everywhere within the cornfields. So the American crow, we thought, hey, that's very cool. We'll use that. And then we were just like, well, what else? Can we do something else? And then one of our guys, Brian Graw, who was one of our officers our first year, shout out to Graw. We were sitting down at dinner one night, the three of us, officers, myself, Ed, and Brian, and he's like, what about a scarecrow? And it was like,
it was
a light bulb moment, because we're like, oh, hell yeah, we can make that look pretty tough. And our anniversary date was was right around the time of just after Halloween, and it just kind of developed into this, okay, we're the scary Halloween chapter now. And we leaned into it hard, and we had a brother from over in England, reached out to him, and he's a tattoo artist. He helped, design Ezra, as we called it. We said we got to have a name for it, and so Ezra Crow is our scarecrow. And we actually found out, I think it was last year, one of our attendees who actually lives in Southern Indiana, from the Southern Indiana chapter, found out that there is actually a grave here in Indiana of a child that passed away 70, 80 years ago, named Ezra Crow.
Wow.
Man, nice. That was pretty
Wow.
intense. They actually stopped by and took a picture of the headstone, but he's our mascot, man. He's everything. So we've used him in all the stuff we do. He's on our 2020. We do an annual concert T-shirt, and he runs the field, man.
So how many of these events have you all put on?
This will be the third.
This is the third one. Yep. So have they all had just this overwhelming amount of different stuff going on, or is this kind of newer, or have they been wild the whole time?
No, it's kind of grown. We've added a little bit each year, and we knew we wanted to do something a little bit different than just the typical beard competition that we see everywhere else. And the first year, we did a beard competition and a costume contest, because the beneficiary of this event that we do is the Ronald McDonald House of Northern Indiana.
And that's the one that you've used every year, right?
For this event, yeah.
Okay.
We found, I have a personal connection to them, and I know we've had a few brothers in the past that have as well, where the Ronald McDonald House is one of those things you hear about all the time, but not a lot of people really know exactly what they offer and what they do for families. And
right.
My son was. He was 10 years old, and he had to have brain surgery, and they did what they call a partial hemispherectomy. We actually took out like 2/3 of the left side of his brain because he was having seizures so bad, and no medications were solving it. And so while they're in hospital and they're all the recovery stuff, the Ron McDonald House reached out to us and said, would you like to come stay with us the purpose, basically, if you don't know, that Ron McDonald House offers to people is that they offer up basically a hotel. They have a facility there attached to the hotel, to the hospital where you're at, and it's just like a hotel. It has a bedroom for the family, and they have arrangements for the family. You have meals there. Everything's free of charge. They have a snack cart that goes around. They have games for kids that are fit in the family to play while they're there, so that all of the family can easily get access to the room to see to be with the loved one. So it's just a really cool thing. And each one of the facilities is different. We have one in South Bend, and then we have another one in Fort Wayne. So we split the money between the two. And it's just a fun time. We thought, what can we do for these guys? And so aside from raising money, and so we ask everybody that comes, if they can, to bring some individually wrapped like snacks, crackers, Little Debbie's, that kind of a thing.
And you'll have just like a collection box or something like that at the event.
Yeah, and we use that to give to them. We split that amount and we give it to them, and they use it on their snack cart. But that also becomes trick or treat items for the families that are there during trick or treat time. So
there you go.
Can you imagine? I mean, as you're a kid, Halloween is huge here in the States,
right?
And, you don't want to miss it. And so if you're in the hospital with your family, it's just one of those things that they offer to make things a little bit more lifelike, home-like, for them. So it's just one way that we can do that. So we give money from the proceeds from the event, and then those as well. And they've been the place we've partnered with for the last 3 years. And so the first year it was just a costume contest and beard competition, and then we did the same thing last year, but we added a little element to things where one of our brothers, John, is a magician. He's actually like a super high level magician. So he did some magic stuff, and we also started off the night with a performance song, just to do something different, a cool way to open the night, which completely surprised everybody, even surprised half a chapter, because nobody knew I was even going to do it.
So are you gonna do that again this year?
There might be something.
Oh, there you go.
We look at this thing as, and now this year we're adding the tattoo contest as well. So we look at this thing as, it's not just a beard comp; it's a full-on event. It's a night out, and it's just a fun event that you can do all sorts of stuff at. We're having carnival games and that you can play, and then so we have the standard raffle prizes, and we have somewhere between like 40 and 50 of those, and then we have special raffle prizes that you're only eligible to put tickets in for those if you've played and won the carnival games.
So you've got to play carnival games to get
the higher
more
end
tickets, and those tickets can go to the
yeah. We've got 4 special raffle prizes that each one of them is valued at least $150. I think it's $170 and upwards of almost $400. Awesome. So there's 4 of those, and then if you play, and it's super simple. I mean, if you play, you're going to get some of those raffle tickets. But it's it's a way to get people involved and to do some stuff.
Yeah, instead of just sitting around, it's giving something to get up and play some games and
I like it.
And this is definitely going to be a kid-friendly event, I would assume.
Yep, the kids are going to be there. We have the kids are in the costume contest. We don't have a beard kids category for the beard, kids creative for that, just because we have them in the costume contest. And
so as far as the categories go, like beard stuff is pretty cut and dry, but what about like your tattoo and the costume? What are those type of categories look like?
Yeah, so for the kids, we do a kids category, we do a men's adult, we do a women's adult, and we do a couples. So we've had some really fun couples come together and get really dressed up with some super fancy stuff before. It's been fun. And we actually had last year, we had 2 different couples show up almost in the exact same costume from the same chapter.
Nice.
And it was pretty funny watching the 2 of them battle that out. But so we do those. And then this year for the tattoo contest, we're doing super simple, but yet it's just going to be a fun thing. And we're only, the money part of it is just to keep things going. So we're charging $5 per entry for each tattoo that you want to enter.
So you can enter multiple.
Oh yeah. If you have 15 different tattoos you want to enter, go for it. And so It's men's. It's the best men's tattoo, best women's tattoo, and if you have a full sleeve that's all integrated, that counts as one if we want to. So, but it's best men's, best women's, and then worst tattoo.
Just overall worst, men or women.
Yeah, overall worst,
Okay.
and it can be the most janky looking tattoo that you may have tried on yourself, or if you were in jail or prison and somebody put it on you, if it's terrible. We're going to have. All the judges will have the opportunity to judge that as well, but then we're also going to have 2 other guys that are tattoo artists as well, that are helping to judge that one, because
Smart.
the worst tattoo, the winner of the worst tattoo, is going to get a free cover up of that tattoo.
Wow! What if they don't want it covered up?
Well, it's their choice. But
okay. So here's a good question. Andrew Matt said next year maybe add partial beards or at least the prestigious facial hairstyle goatee.
So yeah, we have a here's our issue with that, because typically and we would love to have, it's obviously open to anybody, so anybody that's not even affiliated with the club or anything, but typically in as you would imagine, most of the villain events end up with mostly villains. Right. We have had a few guys that are not affiliated with the villains, and we love that, but because of that, the very first year we opened it up and we had like 8 categories.
Right.
And we had partial beard, we had freestyle, we had mustache, and we ended up making trophies for categories that nobody was in.
Yeah.
And so what we've done is because we have so much going on, and because the beard competition is not the primary thing, it's just one of the things, we've combined different categories together. So if you have a whaler, if you have a partial beard of any kind, if you have just a mustache, just a goatee, if you have any kind of freestyle thing, that's all lumped together in one freestyle category for us.
Okay.
It's
so
not,
if you have a partial beard, you're in the freestyle category.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have a partial beard, if you have a goatee, if you have, chops, if you have whatever it is, it's just easier and more efficient for us to run. And I know the hardcore, beard comp enthusiasts won't like that. But it's what we have to do because heck, one year, the first year I think it was, we even just in the 12 and over category, we only had 2 people competing, but we had 3 trophies. So it's just it's hit and miss, and you never know who's going to show up.
Too, to not make a bunch of trophies that you're not even going to give out. Yep. I get it, but at the same time, goatees are the most prestigious facial hairstyle.
I know you. I know you think so. Yes, I know you.
In other words, Andrew Matson, if you want the prestigious facial hair goatee to be at his comp, get all your goatee brothers to show up.
Yeah,
and flood the comp, and maybe next year there'll be a goatee.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know
if we see an influx of people, we'll make a category to fit that.
I know at least 1 or 2 will be there. Probably.
I know a couple partials that'll be with us, so that's
great.
But
yeah, we would love it. And
so
don't
what
be surprised
about
if a good goatee ends up winning that, because you never know.
Well, as it should. Goatee should win every category
all of the categories,
no matter what it's against. The goatee should win. Yep. Everybody knows that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, we've pretty well ran this entire episode, and
hold on a moment.
The whole thing, and I get it. Yeah, I was just going to say, if there was anything we could run over some, it's perfectly fine. But is there anything?
I do have one question, you guys are strict. I go like an hour and a half some days.
I do have
try
one
to keep
question.
it to an hour. I know Kyle has this question. He's burning.
Yes.
Let's hear it, bud.
All right. So BP, we as you know, before the show started, we talked about Hampton, the traveling gnome. And you said you were going to do a little investigating. Where is Hampton at? Do you know where Hampton is right now?
The only thing I've been able to confirm right now is it's with one of the Mississippi chapters. I was in the process of finding more information out when I could not connect with the system here, and that became my priority. But I know it will be in attendance at the event, the anniversary event, the 7th anniversary event that the Mississippi chapters are having in Biloxi this upcoming weekend on the 21st, the same date as ours.
At the beach.
It's also something that you need to start working with, just making villains not step on each other's dates.
Yeah. Well, I wish, and this kind of, and I know we're getting close on time, but this goes to one of the points that I was going to make earlier, and because we've been talking, we just got off on it. But it's an issue because, as you know, there's only so many good dates, good weekends in the course of a year. And I mean, by all means, as often as you travel, you've seen a wide variety of things, and there's pockets when there's maybe not so many things going on, but maybe not for you because you travel all over the world for it. But for the villains, it seems like there's like one or two pockets where there's about a month where there's not a whole lot going on. But when you figure in just in the States, there's 100 chapters, ish. So you're talking about all these guys trying to have events. They're inevitably going to be stepping on top of each other. We just hope that when they do, it's some distance away. So this weekend, actually, for the villains, we actually have 3 events here in the States.
Oh, wow.
And there may be actually another one. But there's 3 that I know of that I've been promoting too. That there's our event on the 21st in Northern Indiana. The Mississippi event in Biloxi is going on. And then there's a chapter in the Phoenix chapter is having an event in Mesa, which is a really cool event. They're actually doing, which I'm happy they're doing it so far away because it's not going to pull anybody from us. But it's actually a wrestling event. They're having professional wrestling as part of their event at a
That's awesome.
at a Harley Davidson dealership. Yeah, it's a professional wrestling group going to be going on there. So
there you go.
It's you're always looking for something new and exciting. But one of the things that go ahead.
The beardcalendar.com.
Yes,
villains can utilize that.
I was getting there. Yes, I was getting there. As a matter of fact, you read my mind. But one of the things that I've found, and I mentioned this actually when I was talking with Ray Norcross on his podcast several weeks ago, is that I've found that one of the reasons, I think this is just my thought, I could be completely off base, but I've always felt that one of the reasons why it seems that the villains don't participate in and support other chapters events that are not affiliated with the villains is simply because of numbers. There's so many villain events, and if you only have 3 or 4 weekends a year that you're able to go to an event, that I have to go to this villain, this event, and this event, and this event, and you realize pretty quickly that you can't. There's villain events you can't go to that you want to go to, and so they default to not going to the other events too. But one of the things I've been telling guys is there's so many other beard clubs out there that are closer to you than you think, and even in your own state. And so what's to say that you can't drive 2 hours just to do a day trip to go support them? And that's one of the things I've been trying to push to guys, is to remind them that you don't have to travel cross country to do these things.
Yeah, they're everywhere, man. And just like Don Wayne said, the beardcalendar.com, that's why I created it and started putting it out there
that thing is the best.
Trying to help these events,
there you go,
know where other events are happening, and so maybe there's not a Knoxville and a Nashville isn't trying to put on an event at the same time and stuff like that, so we can try to at least attempt to separate. And I think over the last year it seems to be better. I know when I very first started doing this thing, it was chaos, but it seems better now.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, what throws you off is when somebody decides just willy-nilly, we're going to switch the weekend that we do this event.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen a few of those, this year with us, with some of the Bearded Villain things. We're like, well, I already had plans to go to this one, and now you're switching this up. Yeah, well, I can't go to your event. You just switched it right on top of this other weekend. And it's one of those pains. But I would love to go down, because I've researched and I've seen the stuff that Tri-County does the same weekend that we do. I think it's a really cool cause.
It's a solid event, man.
Yeah.
That event is the most family feeling event out of the 200 I've done. That's what I've heard right there. Just feels like a great time. You're just sitting in someone's living room with a beard competition, and everybody's like cousins and stuff. I've
heard so many good things about it. Unless it's just one of those things that unless one of us switches dates, and I don't think either one is.
No, I think y'all are both stuck in your ways.
It's just one of those, it's a timely thing, because we purposely do it right before Halloween. So
combine the two.
They're too far apart to combine.
Yeah,
well, you can always work together and do something. But
real quick, in the future.
Yeah, before Aaron ends the show, somebody asked earlier, where can we find your podcast at?
Good question.
I'm on YouTube, and I've just started doing the streaming also with Facebook, but it's at the Heart of a Villain. If you just research, there's just find the Heart of a Villain on YouTube, or I have a Facebook page also that's the Heart of a Villain podcast. So one of those two places. And typically I go live on the same night that you guys have something on the Talking Beards on Thursdays is usually when I go live, but it's out there in YouTube land and then on any major podcast platform after the fact, usually within 5-6 hours, the audio part goes. So
awesome.
That's
everywhere you can find a podcast. You can find the Heart of a Villain podcast.
There you go. Yeah, check them out.
But hey, real quick, before you leave, I got to give a big shout out to our 5 judges.
Let's hear those real quick.
That's a thing that we do. We are going to have, and I have no idea with my camera issues. I don't know that this is going to work, but I would love to see if it will. Kaboom! Let's see if this works.
Ooh.
Nope, it's not gonna. The pictures ain't gonna pop up. So we'll go back to the old one. That's not gonna work. But anyway, so we've got a local barber, a local stylist that's been doing her work for I think it's 9 years now, in the area, northern Indiana. Her name's Caitlin Berry. I don't know that she's ever done a comp before, but she was really excited about the possibility of it when she learned about what we were doing.
That's awesome.
She wanted to be a part of it. So it'll be her first time, I think. One of the guys that's a Chicago bearded villain who's been a judge for us for the last 2 years, bringing his third time around, Optimus Mendez. He'll be here. And he is the co-captain of the Bearded Villains Chicago chapter. And then we get into the big beards. We've got a brother from down south, Robert Beaudry. I think a lot of you guys in the community know who he is. And then we've got Mark Burns from in Michigan. Mark Burns is coming down. He's been with us every year at our event. It's always been a blast with him. And then we were struggling, man. We were really struggling to find a fifth scraping the bottom of the barrel. And we came across this guy named Aaron, and he does
heard of him.
He does this show. I think he reps some beard company that's something Amish.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But no, so Aaron's going to be our fifth. That's right. There, look at that promo. Aaron's going to be our fifth judge, and we're really excited to have you there. I got to say that I just started this afternoon reopening up the boxes, and Honest Amish jumping on board and being one of our sponsors as well. So thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome.
I opened up the box again today as I was getting ready to compartmentalize all the prize bags and stuff. My dining room smells amazing right now. So,
I bet mine does too. I have no idea.
Yeah, you probably don't know anymore, but
nope, not anymore. I used to.
You don't notice it. You don't notice it, but so yeah, I noticed it, and yeah, so it's my dining room smells amazing. Well, so
I'm looking forward to coming up there and being with you guys and judging some tattoos and some costumes and some beards and playing some games and doing all the things. So
all the things.
Thank you for stopping by. I know we could have just kept going for another hour, but
it's all good,
we
man.
do our best to keep it to an hour. So
anytime you want me on, I'm coming back, and we'll chit chat, or we'll just do it off air. We don't care.
Hey, man, that sounds good to me. We'll bring you back sometime soon. So
Kyle, great work with your cast so far. Look forward to hearing good things from you in the future as well.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Brian. We'll see you this weekend for Ezra Crow.
Have a good one. Thanks.
See you. All right, Kyle Waller, let's get out of here, my friend. Go ahead and do your outro.
Did it.
We did it.
Have a great night, everybody. If you can, go to a beer competition this weekend and do some good. All right. And
Shape the podcast.
Yes, check it out next Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you for everybody for watching. I'm Aaron D. Johnston. You know me, Aaron D. Johnston, on all my socials and all that good stuff. Hugging Christmas trees.
Oh, Krabby Scotty.
What's up, Scott Sakura?
Yeah.
We missed you tonight. Hopefully y'all had a fun evening. And yeah, that's not one. There it is. Everybody have a great night. Okay, bye.